Okay, so there we go. Now I'm off mute. Hey, so what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dope Ass Dude podcast. So you guys already know how we roll. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you don't mind subscribing to the YouTube channel right now, and while you're there, go ahead and click on like so that this video can be shared with others just like yourself. And then also click on notifications so you can be notified each and every time a new episode is uploaded to the channel. And then if you're not following me on TikTok and Instagram, go ahead and follow me on both platforms. On both platforms, you can find me at the Dope Ass Dude podcast. That's on both Instagram and TikTok. And if you're on the go and you don't get a chance to check it out on Mondays, you can always check the podcast out on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And you are watching, you can always watch it live on Mondays on LinkedIn, X, YouTube, and Facebook. And let's go ahead and get this on out the way while we're here. You can follow Derrick on Instagram at Mr. Mindset Go, or you can follow him on Facebook, Derrick D Reed on Facebook. And Jerry, you can follow him at The Real JAT World on Instagram, and on Facebook, he is Jerry A. Thompson. So I'm really excited about these guys, and it's amazing. Derrick has been on the podcast before, and last week actually marked 1 year since he's been on the podcast. So he's been on the podcast before. He's an author, he's a business owner, he's a podcaster. He has a lot of things going. And the funny thing about this connection, and the one reason that I'm really excited about it, is because Derrick actually introduced me to Jerry. And I never forget, Derrick came on the podcast, and when he came on the podcast, he was like, "Hey, guy, I have somebody I think will be amazing for your show." And that's how I got connected with Jerry. And you guys know Jerry has been on the podcast like 3 or 4 times in the last year. And he always brings such a unique perspective to the show, and he spits out so much truth. And I personally am inspired and motivated by both of these guys because I watch them on social media all the time, and both of them are doing their thing and they are changing the world in their own way. So I'm going to go ahead and bring both of them on now so we can go ahead and get started with this. Jerry, Derrick, what's going on, fellas?
Yo, what's up, man? What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? So, Derrick, what's been going on with you? It's been a year since you've been here. So, what's been going on with you, man?
You know what? A lot been going on, and I'm gonna say this: when 2024 hit, I said to myself that I got a new outlook on life. You know what I mean? I want to give everything I got and use everything I have. And what I mean by that is the talents I have, connections I have, the relationships I have. I'm going to use everything I got and use everything I have. And the reason why I have to, because life is short. We're here for a good time, not a long time. That's how I look at it now. You know what I mean? Enjoying ourselves and learning. So my podcast that kicked off last year, back off for a new season on Custom on Coffee, and it's been doing great, man. We are shooting up on reels. As far as on the business life and my personal life, been running my companies. You know what I mean? My companies actually been running themselves, so which is great. And since then, I probably retired from being a barber. Did I retire? Was I retired then?
No, you were still going. So you retired?
So I retired as a barber. A lot of people don't know I retired last year. I honed my clippers up. Hence why I do Custom on Coffee, because I honed the clippers up, left them at the chow, but I brought the conversations with me, and I just thought the conversations are all wholesome. So, I honed the clippers up, man. I haven't been cutting over a year now. I still own a barbershop. I own it, but I don't work there no more. I just thought I'd done it enough. I've been cutting hair over 30 years, so I just thought I'd done it enough.
Yeah,
What's up, Jared?
What are you doing now to fill your time? Other than your business, I know you said they're running themselves. So what are you doing now to fill your time?
You know what it feels like? I'm doing a lot of consulting on business because people know that I run several companies. And what I mean by running, I'm not really hands on with at least 3. I'm not hands on at least 3 of them, maybe. Us 4 companies, so I maybe I'm hands on with 2. I would say that. But I'm pretty much running myself. I got a good team of managers and people that run the companies for me. One's is construction, one's transportation, barbershop, a gym. Those type of things. So pretty much they run by themselves, but the ones I do have hands on, I kind of enjoy it. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I kind of enjoy it. So yeah.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And you just got back in town from Florida. You was down there with your family. I saw your video. So how was your trip?
It was good. It was always good down there. My daughter lives in Florida, and Sunshine State. I go down there and turn up for them. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. They love when I come in town, and I love to see them. They grown. They on their own. I show up. It's turn up. It's crazy because they lived down there for over a couple, look like 2 years now. So they be like, Dad, you know more spots than us. I'm doing homework in Florida. Plus I'll be everywhere. I go down to Florida, take them out to different spots, and I just flew in about an hour ago. But I wanted to make sure I make it on the East Coast. You stay on the East Coast and make it for your time, which is CST CP time, right? What is it? CST?
CST, yeah, Central Standard Time, yeah. But
Yeah.
man, I knew you was gonna be here. Me and Jerry had talked about it, and I was like, yeah, that brother's gonna show up. So yeah,
Oh, I'm
I'm
showing
happy
up.
you here, brother. I'm
Yeah, if
happy
I
you
tell you I'm coming, I'm coming. I'm known for that job. Yeah, if I say I'm coming, he's coming. People
That's
know
what
that.
that's what's up.
Yeah,
So
facts.
Jerry, what's going
For
on
real.
with you, man?
Yo, man, it's just been extremely busy. One of the I would say one of my foundational things is I still hold this, executive role with the world's largest mobility company.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's keeping me busy. Just getting through our budget season and all that, and we had a phenomenal year and just building my staff and really just enjoying a lot of things I'm doing with my people. Like we do a lot to build our people, seeing a lot of them grow in their careers, get promoted, go to big positions, start making much more money. So I figure, that's one of my responsibilities is to leave those breadcrumbs and to help people be better. And so it's been super busy, enjoying that. And as you know, we had some whispers about that. Some of my real estate has been going sideways on me, so I'm having to attend to that. And actually sat down 2 weeks ago and went through the outline. So I'm starting to work on Principles of the Live Free Lifestyle Volume 2. And I have about 65 topics to choose from to get about 23 for the next book. And so starting to pull the team back together and just getting myself in that space. So I really haven't even done as much online. Posting and stuff has been just kind of going in the woodshed and getting my thoughts together. This book is going to be a bit more, it'll be as transparent as the other, but this is going to be a bit more provocative. We're going to dig deeper on some issues. So people who don't have the appetite, keep reading volume 1. If you want to get down to the nitty gritty, get your hands on volume 2. I'm gonna be talking about people's mamas and everything. It's gonna be crazy. No, I'm just kidding. You ain't talking about nobody's mama.
So when are you looking
But
to
it's
release?
time. It's time.
Yeah, I agree. It's time.
And so I'm kind of like Derrick in that regard. If I put my mind to it, so what's this? Mid-August. If I wanted to, I could be done. I could be done before November. Facts. I mean, and have it be as good a book as the first one. And that's been really rewarding, Derrick. I know you know this, just from people that have read the book and haven't just read it, that they've adopted it, right? Like they're into it. And when I talk to people, they still talk about their favorite chapters and their favorite quotes. And so I'm getting that from that and the golf book, right? And so I'm hearing a lot from people about how much the golf book has helped them.
And that was
although I'm wearing, go ahead, huh?
That was first. The golf book was first.
The golf book was first.
And then you came with the new book, and they said, well, I want to read something else that they got. That's what happened.
Yeah. So in the last year, I released 4 books in the last year. And then, although I'm wearing the Live Free gear tonight, somehow there's just like this resurgence of my Golf for Life apparel. So I'm just working on getting the right people in place, because I'm like, I need to be like Derrick and have that run without me, because I just have so many other responsibilities. I don't want to have to be running back and forth shipping. And but it's started coming out of the woodwork. I'm looking at my Cash App is going like this from people asking for the gear. So I'm like, get the people what they want. So, matter of fact, hold up, John. Hold up. Where is it? I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna do a wardrobe change. I'm gonna switch to a Golf for Life hat in a minute. I'm gonna wear all my brands tonight.
There you go. You can switch up. Good stuff. Good stuff.
This dude here makes me so sick, man.
We hang out. So this is magic. We hang out when he come in town or I'm in town. We hang out. He's a genius.
Yo, I'm gonna say that. Hey, when we get together, the conversations that we're able to have, people take this the way they want to. It would be worth people spending money just to sit at the same table.
Yes.
Whatever you put down in cash, you walk away with 5 times that in value, just from just that organic conversation between 2 people who are determined to leave here empty. It's a very serious thing.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. Always wholesome. Always a good conversation. Yep.
So how do you guys balance everything? Because both of y'all have like a lot: family, business, your own personal selves. So how do y'all balance all of that and still smile and all of this other kind of stuff? So Derek, we'll start with you. How do you find balance?
You know what? That's actually a great question. And all I can tell you is that most successful people are very good at time management. About using, and in my book, it's funny, no shameless pun. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? So um, it's like in my book I had time currency. I believe it's the second chapter of my book. Time currency, time money. Time is money, money is time. Again, a lot of successful people have mastered how to use time. I balance it by, and I'm going to use the word balance and not juggle, because sometimes you get to a point where you feel like you juggle it. You know what I mean? And you don't want to be there. You want to get to the point where you're balancing. So what I do is anything that I invest my um, time in or money in, I'm looking for a good return. So with me, I balance it out by balancing time. I don't waste a lot of time, John. That's one thing I don't waste because I use it as money. You know what I mean? I'm going to spend my time here because it's valuable to me, or I'm going to get a return from it, and I make sure that, you know what I mean, all the time. I don't do a lot of video games and all that stuff, to each his own, because a lot of people make millions from video games. Well, if you're investing that time in to playing video games, I don't look at it as you playing games. It could be serious if you get a good return. You know what I mean? So with me, in a nutshell, time management. That's how I balance it. Time, managing my time well, because I respect it so much.
Wow.
Yeah, and D might be a little bit better at it than I am. Sometimes I kind of have these ebbs and flows because some of the things I do are so different. But what I find necessary for me is the time to unplug. Like we were kind of talking earlier, like just like when I get in that sauna, like 30 minutes, and nobody in there but me, right? And so I get to control that space, the time, kind of use that to not just for what's good for my body, but also what's good for my mind. But then try not to get too overwhelmed with some of the things that come in, because you know that you and D knows this. You operate in business. You're part of big ventures. You know, dealing with big dollars, things that decisions you make impact people's lives. So it can
Yeah.
be a lot of weight. And so here's one of the things I am learning on, and I'll be again very transparent. Is we talk about the need to unplug. What I'm finding that as I go through some of this, what I need to do is unplug some of the people who are plugged into me,
Yeah.
because all they're doing is taking. They're not. There's no current coming back, and
Ooh.
sometimes it gets to be too much to drag along. So in order for me to keep going, I have to reserve my energy and unplug the people. You know,
Yeah.
not just unplug from situations.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I need to hear that too, Jerry. Thanks for that. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So one final question on this here, fellas. So because both, and I mean, I've shared this with both of you guys before, so this is not something I'm just saying because we're on the podcast. I think both of you guys have brilliant minds, and you guys are super creative. So you're always creating, and you're always thinking about the next thing. Is there ever times that you have to silence your mind just for a minute so you can get some good rest, or do you ever feel do you always feel overwhelmed or the need to do something or whatever? Jerry, we'll start with
Hey,
you.
D. Okay, I'll
Oh, with
start with
Derek?
me. Um, so I've been told that even when I'm asleep, you can tell that my mind is still going, right? And so it is a challenge for me. And so meditation is helpful. You know, people might not think this is manly, but I'll take a bath with lavender candles, like whatever it takes. I do assisted stretch. I do massage, like anything that because I think it starts in the body, right? Everything that we go through shows up in our body somewhere. All of our stress, all of our trauma shows up in our body. So even if you think you're processing it with your mind, if your body is not part of that process, if that stuff still finds residence in you somewhere. You know, like in even some of my stretch sessions, we've been really focused on my psoas muscle, right? The psoas muscle is described as the fight or flight muscle, right? It's like if you had to jump up out of the chair, that's the muscle that's engaged. Well, it's also believed that your stress and your trauma can locate itself in that part of the area of your body. So in that groin area, right, in your lower abdomen, that's why people have so many issues there with circulation and other things. It's not just that they have some sort of chronic illness, is that they're holding trauma. And so I try to do things to help me work through the process of learning how to release trauma, stress, and things that I've been carrying that aren't just resident in my mind, but also that want to take residence in my body.
Wow. Wow. What about you, Derrick? How do you go about doing it?
You know what? About a year ago, maybe a little under a year, I got into meditation, and not that I'm an avid meditator all the time. I started reading a book by a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you guys ever heard of him? He's one of them mental health type of guys, and he deals with a lot of meditation stuff like that. His book is called "Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself," and it's so dope. It's a really good book, and he touches on meditation and all that. But it's called "Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself." One of the best books I've probably read. Um, and he
Wow.
gets into meditation. And then he has another follow up with that book about meditation. Meditation helps me out a lot. I didn't know the power of it because I thought meditation would be driving to work and with the radio off, and it's going to be silent and silent my mind and do a lot of thinking. But there's an art into meditation. There's something powerful about meditation once you know how to do it. And I'm gonna be honest, the first couple of days or two, or maybe a week or two, you're actually learning how to meditate. I didn't know how. I thought it was just being quiet and riding to work and with no radio on. You know what I mean? Pretty much. So I got into meditation and I've seen the power in it. And it's everything starts from inside out. That's how I feel, from the inside out. So you work with the inside and then it starts showing on the outside. And I know that getting into meditation will help me more so get into my mind, help me understand who I am, who I want to be, and all those things. We're running so many companies, and you got family, and you got relatives, and you got people pulling on you, man. One thing about when you got some good energy, or you got some creative ideas and abilities, and you're successful, there are a lot of people, like Jared said, plugged into you. That's why I need to hear that. And they plugged into you. And let me tell you something, it's hard to pour in other people's cup when your cup is starting to become empty. So
Mhm.
meditation will help me get to the point where I can refill my cup. Because I take a lot. On just a lot of things, even being like one of the leaders in my family and my extended family, my family, everybody, calls on D Reed for whatever. And I do need to unplug. I do need to wind down. I do need to recharge. And how I do it is through like meditation. I just found that out really not too long ago. It's not just about going to Jamaica. I'm going to Jamaica, everything, and have a
Yeah.
ball and fly right back. My problem's here, but I started getting to that and it calmed my mind. Things start happening. Things start on the spiritual level. Things start happening. So meditation is one of the
Yeah.
biggest keys.
Well, but along with that too, D, like that's, it's funny. My best friend and my sister came to visit me here in Puerto Rico, and I asked them, so why do you think I bought this place? They said, well, because you could. That wasn't the reason. It's for what it does for me. Like when I come here and I
Ooh, yeah,
decompress and just get into the flow of this place and with the people and the energy and the love and like, and I even told my doctor this. I said, you can take my vitals when I'm sitting in your office, outside of St. Louis, and then let me be in Puerto Rico for 2 or 3 days and take them again. It's going to be like a different person. So I
yeah,
think that geography has a lot to do with it as well. And people kind of have themselves caged in because they're geographically boxed in,
yeah,
right? Like you have to have a place where you can go, a place where you can decompress, a place where you don't have to put on airs for anybody. You're not there to impress anybody. You can just be yourself. You can walk it out. You can talk it out. You can cry it out. If you don't have that kind of place and you always have to be on, then at some point that's going to catch up with you.
right.
And I don't want to have one of those types of breaks. Also, D, I'm starting to experiment with hypnotherapy as well.
Okay. I never seen that
So we
before.
get into that later, and I also have an interest in microdosing. We can talk about that another day.
But John, what I will say is that I'm trying to get more into counseling. Like it's so hard to find a good counselor. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But I know that too as a counselor. You know what I mean? But I need counseling. Like I didn't probably mention you guys. I actually officiated like 2 funerals this year. I've done that this year unexpectedly. I've done 2 funerals this year. I don't really post that or say, you know what I mean? But yeah, I had to do that this year, and it's just I've been taking on a lot, and meditation have been there for me. But I do want to go to the next level. Not saying it's more important, but I need that level of counselor. You know what I mean? A good
Yeah.
counselor. Always look for that. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, because you guys
Agreed.
have like the heavy plate. Both of you have a lot on your plate. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think I'm an advocate for counseling. So
Good stuff.
people want to say, well, crazy people go to counseling. No, people who don't go to counseling,
I'm
they
crazy.
crazy.
I'm crazy, John,
Yeah,
but I'm crazy. So I fit in there
yeah.
too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little crazy. I just don't want to get crazier. I'm trying to
Crazy
contain
over
my.
here. I
I'm
got a
trying to
little
contain my.
Jerry. We both got a little piece of crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's funny though, from that standpoint, some of the things that would be quote unquote you know, wrong. Don't fix that stuff, because that's my go engine. That's what keeps me going.
Right.
That's why I'm able, if I got a little bit of OCD, leave it alone. It's one of the reasons I get so much stuff done. Right.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to sprint with a limp if I have to. However, whatever I have to do to get it done.
That is so you. Yeah.
You just go.
That is so you. That's 100%. He's telling the truth, y'all. So y'all watching, Jerry's telling the truth. He will spread with a limp. He's gonna get me.
And this is the thing that gets me though, John. And this is because anything that I do that I think is of value, I always want to bring other people along. Right.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think, it might have been with my best friend or with another friend I was talking to, but because I'm starting the process of doing this other book, like I have a whole system for how I did the last one, how I've written the other ones, to write good books very quickly. I always want to bring other people along. It's like, man, I could create a writing group and people could come in and we have writing sessions and stuff. And now I'm adding weight. We're not doing that. I'm just going to write. But that's my heart is naturally to always want to leave breadcrumbs, always to want to bring other people along. And some of it's not about making money. It's just like, I know other people are faced with this challenge. I think I have found a way to make this easier. Come on with me and let's do this. But I don't know. I may have to have them sit out this one. Because once I start, my pace is going to be, it's going to be like this. It's going to go fast.
But that's what I love about both you and Derrick is you guys are always willing to pour into other people. And that's what it's all about. Our experience is not always for us. Our success is not always for us. We experience these things to help other people. And when you do that, it comes back to you tenfold most times.
Better believe it. Better believe it. So
just share. So guys, let's get on to it tonight. So there's a show on Netflix called Love is Blind. Love is Blind. I don't know if you guys checked it out, but
I heard of it.
Yeah, so they're in pods. The guys are in one pod, the woman is in another pod, and there's a wall that separates them. So they go through all of these dates. They may date 15 people, and then they narrow it down to about 2 or 3 by the end before they select the person that they're going to propose to. That's how you come out of the pod. They fall in love with you without ever seeing you, and then they propose to you, blindly. So I'm going to ask you guys, Jerry, and we'll start with you on this one here. Is love really blind? Is love blind?
So first of all, I have fell in love with a woman I've never met, but not one I've never seen. Right. So as soon as I saw the show, I'm like, oh, it's going to be grenades, landmines going off all over the place. There's no way this could end well.
Oh, go ahead. I'm ready.
But yeah, so I think that, I've always been a person that if you asked me probably 2 weeks ago, I would have said love is a choice. Right. But in terms of love being blind, having been in love before, it is this very intoxicating sort of thing. It affects your physiology. I've never felt that I was in love with someone and didn't lose weight. I mean, it does something to your ability to reason, to have good logical thinking, to think long term. Yeah. So in that regard, can love be blind? It can absolutely be blind without question. But because so much has happened in your physiology. It's just like if you got high or drunk and thought you're going to drive the way you normally drive, that ain't going to happen, right? You think you're going to be able to hold a conversation, make good decisions. That's not going to happen. And oftentimes when we fall in love, we fall into a state of being illogical, irreasonable, and not well thought out.
What about you, Derrick? You think love is blind? Is love really blind?
No, I honestly, in the short answer, let me say this. I'm going to say very clearly, I don't think love is blind. I think love sees very well. I think love sees and it actually accepts. That's what it does. It sees and still accepts. So I think when we start adding certain adjectives to love, I think that's a little issue for me personally, because I think love has everything in it. Even when we say, tough love. No, love is tough. It's already tough. You know what I mean? Unconditional love. No, you don't have to have unconditional. Love is unconditional. You know what I mean? So we keep adding things to love when love don't need nothing. Love is one of the only attributes that stand alone. You know what I mean? It doesn't need nothing. So love is not blind. It sees, in my opinion, it just accepts. You know what I mean? And when we talk about love, I look at love like water. We need water as life. and at times we're no match for it. You ever see them houses down in Florida where they just prepare for a storm, right? The only thing you can control is putting those sandbags up in front of your house or whatever your property is, to put those sandbags up as barriers. That's the only thing you can control. See, because once the water gets in, it's going to do what it does once you let it in. And what happens with love is that if you can love anybody, you can actually love anybody and they can love you, but it's up to you to let them barriers down. So if you don't have the sandbags up and you just nilly willy in a conversation with somebody, you get to learn them, they get to learn you and all this stuff, and you might not never see them. You know what I mean? You might not be on the phone and text. You can kind of let love in. You know what I mean? You let it in. But once love get in, it does what it does. It's going to wreck house. It's going to come in. That's why some people drown in it.
Love never snuck up on you?
Yeah, because I let my guard down. You see, because I've done that, you know what I mean? And I realized, like, what? No, I see, because I let it in. I didn't have the sandbags up there. I told you it's like water. I can put the sandbags up to the window if I want to, up to the door. I can not entertain. I can not do certain things. All that, not entertaining, not having conversations, not all. That's putting your bags up, your boundaries up. Because once you let that down, anybody can shoot. Love coming in. If love can get in, they're gonna do what they do. You're no match for it. You're no match for it, and that's what we don't understand about.
I like that. You're no match for love. I'm a ride with you on that one.
One of the biggest emotional forces in this world is love. You're no match for it. So if you don't want that person again, I suggest you put your barriers up, put them sandbags up, put them blockers up.
So but D, when you go down that path, then you go down where I started, which is love is a choice, right? I'm going to be deliberate about what I do, what I don't do, who I let in, who I don't let in, regardless of how they look, what they say, how they treat me. I'm going to, but it sounds odd though. I'll be honest with you, because it's like, am I being so guarded that I'm going to rob my life of some great experience that I could have?
I mean, you got people that end up falling in love with people that they never thought they'd fall in love with. You know what I mean? Vice versa, both ways. You know what I mean? And it's the reason why, because they let their guard down. They let them in. I mean, you can pretty much get anybody you want if you want to. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that you being able to get into that door. You know what I mean? Jay-Z and Beyonce together.
And I think normally when you hear love,
his shirt going up. One thing about men, our guard's always down. Like Chris Rock said, he said the crazy thing about Jay-Z and Beyonce is that Beyonce could have worked at McDonald's and still got Jay-Z. He gonna let his guard down, see something beautiful behind that counter. But if it's the other way around and he working behind that and Beyonce walked in, she ain't putting her guard down. Because she just might like him. Love might just get in if he worked there. But she ain't doing with nobody working at Burger King. And you can say what you want to say. Sorry, John, I want to take your show on there, but you know what I'm saying.
No, you're perfectly fine.
I'm gonna be 100. You know,
I love how you said is accepting. I love how you said accepting. And the reason I say that is because normally when people use love is blind, it is always benefiting the other person. It's never benefiting you. Because like if you see someone that maybe is not as attractive as you would like, they would say, well, you need to look past that. That may be the person that you can fall in love with. Or when you look at someone that's been in a relationship and maybe their partner is doing some crazy stuff, we'll say, love caused me to accept or overlook their behavior. When we hear love is blind, it's always accepting something that truly don't benefit us. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, part of love is about sacrifice, right? It opens us up to want to give and to share. But this whole concept of love is blind has a long history. Just that saying, right? It became very popular with some of Shakespeare's plays. That's where it showed up. But if you go back even further in history, one of the Greek gods, Eros, that's how he was always depicted, right? We think of Cupid, right? But going around with this arrow, but always blindfolded, right? And it's just randomly just bang, bang, bang. And once that arrow hits you, love is going to take you where love is going to take you. And so that the idea of that influence being there from that, what we call the feeling or the emotion of love, for one, it serves a purpose, right? So if you ripped out love, the number of people on the planet would be dramatically decreased. because what it does is emote in us the openness that allows us to procreate. Right. So it serves a certain purpose. And when women fall in love, and then when they're close to someone, they get even closer. Doesn't really happen for men, right? In the same way, we take on a different sort of role with that, right? And that's why a guy could meet, be into a girl, sleep with her, and then never talk to her again, right? That happens in nature all the time, right? She's gonna sleep with him and feel even closer to him. So it's this, it at our base level, at our physiology, it serves a purpose, and part of it is the purpose of procreation, right? It doesn't mean that the feeling of love has to be forever, but it's there enough to get you to do the stuff you're supposed to do to make sure there's more of you and I on the planet. But that's just one view.
Okay. So Derrick, do you think love causes us to accept things that we normally wouldn't take?
100%. Once love get in, like I said, once it's in, it wrecks shop. It's going to do a lot of things. And people say, then they say love is blind. No, you see it. You just don't. You just accepted it. You don't ever act like that. Oh yeah, you see how he is. You see what she's doing and all that. You just got that emotion and you let it in, and it then took over you to a certain extent. And then we got to understand what love is going. It's like I realized since I turned 50, I was like, there's a lot of hard decisions or a lot of hard lessons that I learned about life that's hard for me to swallow. And one of them is about love. Love is based on how a person makes you feel or what they do for you. Period. How a person makes you feel and what they do for you. I don't care how you slice it. You know what I mean? And whatever that love is for a person, it could be I could love a Lamborghini in my garage. I love that car. I like what it does for me pretty much, and like how it makes me feel when I'm driving. But let that transmission keep slipping, and I got to keep running back and forth to the shop. Where do you love that? Oh no, it's not doing enough for me now. It's not making me feel a certain way. And that's the thing about relationships too. People have to understand love is based on those two things: how a person makes you feel and how you and what they do for you. And what happens is a lot of women, they might overlook a guy who's working at a certain job, not shunning women. I just know how it is. If you're a woman that's successful, you ain't checking for a guy at Burger King. If you're a woman that's successful pulling up in the Benz and the dude pull up in the minivan with a car seat in the back and having to look at you, you're gonna keep it going, sis. We know how it is. But if a guy's successful and see a girl in a minivan, she look like so, you know what I mean? The reason I said that because she's doing something for me. So what I would do is let my guard down. And that's what we do. We don't let our guard down if it's someone we know that I don't want to make me feel some type of way. I don't want them doing nothing for a while because I just might like it and I'm not attracted to them physically. So what happens is they put their guard up. You know what I mean? But again, love is based on those two things. You know what I mean? And a lot of people not
think about it.
The opportunity.
But think about it. So I think you can take that idea further because I think a lot of it though happens in our imagination. I'll go back to the premise of the show. You got two people in a room. There's glass in between. They have never, ever seen each other. And by the time this guy says, will you marry me? They all emotional and crying. But that's because something is activated in your imagination. So it's not what they do, but what you imagine, right? Because we start to pre-play the future of what this person is, what they could or would do. Just like a guy or a woman can look at a guy and imagine what it would be like to be intimate with them. By the time you're with someone physically, it's already happened in your mind, right? And so I think that it gets activated in our imaginations. That's how you can have somebody who will stalk someone that they've never had a conversation with, believing that they're in a relationship. They're living a fantasy in their minds. That person ain't done a thing. They haven't said a word. They wouldn't know you if they saw you in a lineup. So I think your point is well made, but it still starts in the imagination. What am I seeing in my mind? And we're pre-playing a future that is favorable that includes that person in some way, shape, or form.
So even on that show, they're actually not seeing the person until pretty much the end. But the deal is going to be sealed. So far as the show.
I'm saying they didn't. I love you and we're here and all this kind of stuff. And this is I've never felt like this and butterflies and all this stuff. Never saw them.
Right, but there's some physical stuff that comes into play once they see each other, and your physical might not do it for me. It might not make me feel a certain way that I thought I was going to feel, or it might be not giving me the things that I need. What it's doing for me and how it makes me feel.
So you weren't supposed to say that.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because you know why, D? Because I think that idea of I have women, but think about it. I have an image in my mind of what she looks like, right?
Correct.
And that is what I'm interacting with. And then the real thing comes. But hold up, though. And this is the one where I see a lot of ladies on here. So I'm ready to lose some people. some friends, fans, or something.
It's okay.
Because I think it's the same way that women present all of this, a new that. At some point, you want to take all that shit off. Yeah. And then that guy has to start, and look at it. And then he has to reevaluate all that stuff that he thought when he sees what he really got.
Because it was doing something for me. I just
threw that in there. Sorry.
No. Because that is true. But that's when the whole Love is Blind really, they believe it's supposed to kick in. You're supposed to overlook that she don't have that BBL is not hers, that hair is not hers, that them eyelashes on her.
Lashes, the fingernails, the breasts, the stuff.
We don't care about. But go ahead. We don't care about the lashes, baby. They really don't. We don't care about the lashes.
Okay, women dress for women. They think they dress for us. They really dress for themselves.
The nails are clean.
I'm watching the comments to see somebody saying.
When that comes off, that's when love is supposed to be blind, and you're supposed to see beyond.
Man, turn them lights off then.
Love to see very well, John. Love to see very well. I'm on that side. That love is not blind. Oh, love it can see very well. 2020, But if that wallet right, you might overlook some things.
Oh my God! Hey, so John, are you looking at the comments?
Yeah. So Danielle,
yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
She said, online dating is a form of love is blind in everyday life. People don't always post up to date and unfiltered pictures, so there are often surprises.
Yeah.
And I get what you, but that's social media all the way around. It's not even so much even on dating sites, but it's more on dating sites where people are posting these pictures where they are like perfect, and then you get with them, and it's like, who the hell are you? Like,
or they are the ones that post up the old picture. You was in college. Put that there. You don't weigh that no more.
So that's your yearbook picture. You throw it up there.
You don't weigh that no more. Come on now.
Okay, so let's talk about love within, because you guys mentioned something earlier, and because I wanted to go like with this whole thing a little bit deeper than just the dating portion of it. But Jerry said something about unplugging from people, or unplugging people who are plugged into him, because they're constantly taking and he's constantly giving to that. So when it comes to love, and especially when it comes to family, and I know both of your books, Derrick Mindset Go, you're talking about living a free life as well. Changing your mindset. Jerry, he's to live free. How do people come out of relationships or situations with family that they love, and that they're allowing love to overlook this person constantly mistreating them, constantly taking from them, constantly bringing toxicity into their life? How do people deal with that? And Derrick, we'll start with you on that.
That's a very serious that's a serious topic, because I get, when I was a barber, I get every walk of life ask me questions. I didn't just have male clients, I had female clients, and I heard all the crazy stories about people being in a relationship and feeling trapped. That's the key word that I've been hearing lately. People feeling trapped in a relationship, and it's one of the things where it's like you're going to have to get some mental health counseling. You know what I mean? When it comes down to stuff like that, people are in situations that it becomes routine. You know what I mean? They don't know better because they didn't have better. You know what I mean? So they're in the same routine. And there's a number of reasons why I see people feel guilty, because maybe at one time the person was all that, and then they just stopped everything. You know what I mean? Or maybe one time they was down, that person helped them out, and then now they in a relationship, and now you feel like you owe a person. You know what I mean? All that stuff comes to play. And I encourage anyone to definitely get mental help when it comes to that. If you're in a situation where you feel trapped, or you feel like I'm putting up with stuff I don't deserve, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, whether you're in a relationship or not, you can't forget that you are an individual. You know what I mean? You have to realize that you have a lane to walk in, they have a lane to walk in this thing called life. You know what I mean? You came here naked, you're going to leave naked. You always got to look out for number one first. And if you're in a situation like that where you feel trapped, or you feel like you're not happy or even got joy, which I use both of those words, you're going to have to get help. And sometimes you're going to need that help to get you out of it. You know what I mean? You're going to need a friend, a counselor, somebody. But I say it starts with you loving yourself. You have to love yourself first.
Yeah. And so I think that, especially, once we have been on the planet, right? We've been here for a minute. So we've had a lot of people come in and out of our lives, right? And some can come in quietly, leave quietly. Some come in quietly, and when they leave, it's an all out war, right? But I think that, one, for me, I distinguish the difference between a relative and family, right? But
There you
also
go.
the obligation that people try to put on you because of relationship, because they're relational, because they've been a long-term friend. We carry that obligation, and that's when it gets difficult, because that's not the way love is. Love is, as you say, love is accepting, right? Love wants the best for you. Love wants the best for everybody. It's when these other things get layered on, now we start to enter something that's become very dysfunctional. And that's when we can lose ourselves in that, especially when people are constantly placing obligation. Because of this, you have to do this. Because of that, you need to be there. Because of that, you need to give to this. Because of that, you need to let them stay at your house. Because, wait a minute, hold up. And then by the time it's all done, we're completely all used up. And what we found about users, they just move on to the next person to use, right?
Yeah.
And they really convince us that we're like we're holding down, we're anchoring something. You're not anchoring anything. You're just being used. So I think it is what you're getting into, John, is really, really complex, right? Because the longer those relationships have been there, like I've been talking to a couple of people because I'm trying to seek some counsel on this. A person who's been a long-term friend of mine since back when we were in college. There was kind of something that happened, and I disconnected because I didn't know where to go next. And then somebody's, well, that's been your friend for so long. But again, I think one of the places that we miss is sometimes we don't recognize when a new season has started. We also don't realize when the season has ended, and just allow it to happen.
Oh, can I make a real quick point? That was a great point what you said about that. When people been together for a long time. Listen, man, when it comes to relationships, everybody that's in relationships, we don't care how long you've been together because it doesn't even matter how long you've been together. That doesn't even matter. You know what matters? It's the quality of the years that matters. And a lot of people don't know that. It's like we've been together this. It's like oh no, I don't give a damn if you've been together for 50 years. Don't matter. What's the quality like? The quality is what you want to count. How many quality years in the past, present, and going forward. You know what I mean? Those type of things. Give a damn about how long y'all been together. You know what I mean? Is the quality good? Is the quality? No, I mean that's what counts. So, but again, people stay together because they feel like, well, we've been together this long, I will keep on struggling until the kingdom come. How? How would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself?
But we're taught that though. We're kind of taught
but
that.
We are, but because we don't understand history, right? And so, and it's funny because we talk about the concept of these friendships, right? What we call a lifelong friendship. A lifelong friendship now could be 50, 60 years, right? A lifelong friendship. There's people that could be married for 40, 50, 60 years. Okay, well, let's play back when people didn't live past 35 or 40. If I had to be married to you for 15 years, I might be able to do that. 50? I don't know if I want to do that. If I was only going to live for 40, 35 or 40 years and you were my lifelong friend, I could put up with you for 20 years, but 40 might be asking a bit much. So because we live in a different space, because our lives have been expanded and we've lived longer, we're having to carry the burden of these relationships much longer than the people in history when this stuff started. You see what I'm saying? And so the idea of this ebb and flow. Say that again.
How you feel about? I don't even like saying for better or for worse. I don't even like saying for better. That's it. You can tell man came up with that. For better or worse. For better or for worse. First of all, for better, we ain't even got to talk about that, right? Do we really got to talk about if you worth 20,000 now you worth $1 million? I'm thinking about leaving you. Leave. Stop saying that when people say it's so ignorant. For better or for worse. No, you know what I mean. But let's deal with the worst part. For worse, what about people that together because of the worst? For worse, come on, man. Come on, really. You don't went left in your life. You don't pull me to listen. You got the. I'm trying to get a life jacket. You pull me down. I'm trying to save you out the ocean. You pulling me down, dragging me too. I'm drowning too. I'm supposed to drown with you. Who came up with that? But oh well. I'm not John. So
yeah. So I don't know if it's the love, John. I think it's the I think it becomes the obligation. And we think if we say we love someone, that obligates us, right? Now, I do think. My pastor used to say back in the day, love needs an object, right? But I also believe this, if someone says, I love you, that don't have anything to do with me. That doesn't obligate me to anything because someone says that they love me. But that's not the way we think about it. Oh, she says she loves you, so you should. No, I shouldn't. Her saying she loves me obligates me to do nothing. I don't even have to acknowledge it. See what I'm saying? That may sound harsh,
Right.
but it's not the reality. I don't. It's when we add on the obligation, and you must, and you have to, and why didn't you? That's when it becomes a prison.
Yeah. So how do you switch? Because Derrick, you said a lot tonight, like you have to love yourself. So how do you switch from loving others more than you love yourself? How do you switch your mindset from loving them more to loving you more? How do you switch your mindset to do that?
Easy. You'll get tired of being tired. You know, people say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know what I mean? And you're gonna you're gonna have to come to yourself. It's done in prayer. It's done in meditation and some type of counseling and help. And you gotta love yourself and know that you deserve better. Number one, you're gonna want better. You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, nah, I can't keep going around this same track. You know what I mean? I'm practicing insanity. I'm doing the same thing and getting the same outcome, or I'm not even getting that. You know what I mean? It could be getting worse than that. So you're going to have to look in the mirror and you're going to have to love yourself. You're going to have one better for yourself. You got to know what your gifts are, your talents are, and your purpose in this life. And you're going to have to really hone to that. You know what I mean? Which is going to bring you fulfillment. And you're going to have to block everybody out. I think what Jerry said, everybody that's saying relatives ain't family. You know, everybody's family ain't a relative. You know what I mean? And you got to understand that people that are family are the ones that's loyal to you. I mean, blood just makes us related. You know what I mean? Rather it's whatever it is, a relationship as far as family members. But yeah, you're going to have to love yourself, and it's going to start with you silently looking in the mirror and saying, I want better. I want better for myself. I don't want to live the rest of my life how I started my life and how I'm living my life right now. I want my ending better than my beginning and my middle, and I want to be more successful in doing that in all aspects. So you're going to have to get to that point.
And I would add to that, the other is just stop asking permission. Stop waiting for permission.
Ooh, good stuff.
Right. For people to tell you it's okay for you to be you. It's okay for you to put yourself first. Like I said, if you're on an airplane, they always tell you, hey, if the oxygen mask on, they don't care if it's an old lady, 90 years old to your left and a newborn baby to your right. Put your mask on first. Right. And we haven't understood that if we're not good, nobody's going to be good. Right. And some of us hold that type of responsibility where we know, like D, he's the franchise player. If he go down the system, it's over. Yeah. See what I'm saying? But if he's waiting for permission from other people to say, hey, you need to do this from a self-care perspective. Have you thought about meditation? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about what you're doing with it? The people who are used to getting from us are usually not going to turn back around and tell us how to take care of us. So if we're waiting for that to say that we're good enough, that you're worth it, that you're needed, and I think it's just required maintenance. Just like you said, Dave, you got that Lamborghini sitting out there. I don't know why people buy a brand new car. Think because you bought it brand new, it's always going to be brand new. It still needs good gas, good oil, good tires, regular maintenance. And we want to be the Lamborghini, but we don't want to do the maintenance. That's when that's when you know we have a self-love problem.
Good point.
Right?
Good
no one's going to come back and tell you to do that. Rarely, unless they love you, right? Like I'd be as much like John, if it was you, D, if it was you, and I saw him struggling because I care about this man, because I love him, I'm going to say to him, but not because I'm trying to get something from him. I think it's a more pure form of love that we can have amongst one another. I don't need him back up on his feet so he can give me another $50. I want this man to go on and live his best life, to be who he can be. So every now we get those people who will put a rocket on our back and help us. But for the most part, people are so consumed in their self agenda that they're not going to be the ones to give you permission to love you.
But how do we identify those people, Jerry? How do people identify those people you just described in their life?
Well, if you in a love is blind situation, you're gonna miss all of it anyway.
You're gonna miss everything.
Because you'll keep making excuses for people, right? But it's like, how many times am I going to be hungry? You got a full plate of food sitting next to me. How many times I'm going to be pushing my car, but you got a full tank of gas? We're afraid to do the math and weigh relationships. And this is what I say. I jokingly say this to my wife in terms from a marriage perspective. But this whole married for life thing is ridiculous to me. How about we re-up every 5 years? How about you do a real assessment and a real evaluation and decide whether or not we need to keep doing this for another cycle?
I wrote stuff down like that. Trust when I tell you. I think it should be like a lease. You got a 3 year, 5 year, 2 years. When the girl get done,
y'all gonna be in trouble tonight.
Like, what did you?
I'm not gonna be in trouble. I will be at zero. What I'm saying to you right now is nothing I've never said out loud over the last 20 years. I don't become a different person because I'm sitting here on this camera. But because we won't do the math. And this is when people are locked into something that is not serving them, all I ask them to do is do the math, evaluate it. Is this delivering to you what it said it was supposed to deliver? Are you getting from it what you look? If we left out of McDonald's and they didn't give us our fries, we're going right back around there and get them fries. But we'll let people keep cheating us through our whole life and we will never challenge them on it.
Ooh.
That's a self-love problem. You already know the people who are willing to take advantage of you. You already know the people who have. And if you give them the opportunity, they would do it again. You know, it's in my first book, there are no mysteries. It's just about what you are willing to face and accept and deal with. That's it. There's no big mysteries. There's no riddles. You don't need God to reveal it to you. It's right in front of your face.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it or not?
I'll tell people all the time, loving others blinds you to bullshit. Loving yourself opens your eyes to bullshit. You know, once you switch that up from them to them, because even with blindfolds, you can see a little light up under there. If you have a blindfold, you can see. So a lot of times we do see, I hear, you know, both men and women say, well, they did this here, they did this here, and I didn't know it. Yeah, you knew they were that person. You blocked it out, or you overlooked it, or you compensated for it. And then now is at a point that you're not willing to take it anymore, and you're exposing it. But it's always been there. They've been that person the entire time. But
good stuff. Yeah. And one of the things that, and you asked the question, how do they know if that person? Now let me say this too. For relationships and stuff like that, we're not saying don't ride or die with somebody. We know when someone that's really trying to fight and trying to make it in this world, and we know that life may have to throw them a curveball and all that. Even in that, still not an excuse to keep going on the wrong way. You know what I mean? You know how to ride or die with somebody. Like, this person is really trying to make it. Well, I'm talking about the one that's keep making promises and never deliver. I'm talking about the procrastinator. I'm talking about them to keep saying stuff and doing nothing ever changing and stuff like that. I'm talking about those type of people to watch out for. And one of the reasons how you can notice if a person is like that, John, when you ask the question to Jerry, is that they're more focused on you than themselves. When they focus on everything you're doing and how you doing and how you moving and what you're doing and this and that, then they not focused on what they supposed to be doing and the stuff they need to do for their life. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. You can't go nowhere. So you whatever you trying to do, which, you know what I mean? No, you just focus on yourself. Get yourself together. Right. That type of stuff.
Yeah.
If you want
here's what. So try this on for size, right? For you guys, for the people in the chat, tell me this. If you're in a close-knit, loving relationship with somebody, and they have never had to say the words, I'm sorry to you in the last year, I question the integrity of that relationship. They ain't never done nothing.
Yeah,
they
break
didn't
that down.
Something. They didn't break a promise. They weren't late. They did not pay a bill. They didn't do something. You're in a quote unquote loving, committed relationship with somebody, right? And it could even be your friend. But you or them have never had to say, I'm sorry in the last year. Both of y'all liars. I'm telling you right now, my best friend is on here. I think I had to apologize to her in the last couple weeks.
Jerry,
I'm always going to say something out of I'm always going to say something out of pocket, right? I have to do it with my kids. But who are you in a close, committed relationship with, and they've not had to say, I'm sorry to you, I apologize, it was my fault, or you have not had to say, I'm sorry, I apologize, it was my fault, I'll do better. Nobody? Liars.
Right.
So why do you think there would be a need? I mean, go deeper into that. Why do you think there would be a need for people to apologize for?
Because you're accountable. You care about how you impact other people. All of us have blind spots, right? Now, sometimes you can get caught. You ever see a semi-truck, he got a sign that said, if you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you, right? We have blind spots. So in all the stuff that I do, I'm all over the place. How am I not going to miss something from time to time, right? I try to be on top of every bill and every letter, every piece of mail. Okay, I'm moving between, 2 different states and a different country. I mean, come on. You're not going to miss nothing ever. You're going to be on time for every dinner. The clothes always going to get washed. You're always going to turn out the lights. You're always going to make sure the lawn get cut. Come on. All the time.
Never do everything right.
Right. And if you're with a person then that they want to hold you accountable, like D said, and that they can't be held accountable, you already know you're in a dysfunctional situation.
Oh, snap. Uh-oh. Don't ask me no questions about that. Then I'm good.
No, then let's go into that. Let's go into
Somebody
that.
asked me, somebody said,
Yeah,
okay,
D,
so
what you
is
talking
it women?
about?
Is it women? Is it women on the feed? They gonna listen. Somebody asked me, yo, man, what's the key to marriage? So D, never hold your wife accountable. It's real simple to me. You want to be happy married? Never hold her accountable, fellas. You go. That's it. That's the quickest way. Never hold your wife accountable, and guess what? Happy wife, happy life, and all that stuff. Fall right into that. You good? You good?
Dude,
Like
I would arm wrestle
you
you over
good?
there. Ain't no way. Ain't no.
Hey, that's it. But I give you a real answer. I give you a real answer. We probably near the end of the show about relationship and what I think one of the keys is. Okay, we'll
No,
do that.
yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Come on now with it, Derek.
Yeah,
Okay,
why you
so
want to make us?
I got y'all the more truth said than jokes. I got that out the way. You know what I mean? But on the real tip, love. We talking about love, right? I think the longevity and the healthy marriage, you almost got to be in a sense of competition of who can love each other the most. That's how I feel. Let's be in competition of who can love each other most, who can be more attentive to each other, who can know what a person needs even when they don't know they need it. You know, those type of things. So I think we got to try to outlove each other. You got to try to outlove each other and remember to do that each day. How can I outlove her? How can I do this? Or how can I do that? And she don't even see it coming. Those type of things. And she actually. And
That might be a book, D. That might be a book.
oh, we'll talk. We'll talk before you get offline. Then we'll talk. I love to hear you give me the how you feel about it. So yeah.
Because you
Yeah, no,
overdue,
I think
brother.
it's very interesting, but it's taking a position of selflessness, right? It's being observant. It is, demonstrating thoughtfulness, right? Like, it kind of cracks me up that you can go through an entire cycle with somebody, and we get to the things that people care about, like birthdays and all that, and anniversaries and all that stuff. And people are the worst gift givers on the planet because you're not paying attention. You don't care. If you this person has never mentioned it, they don't have a tendency for any damn thing. I don't care if they sat and watch, every episode of Game of Thrones. Buy them a T-shirt at least you recognize. I recognize what you like to do.
That is a good.
Right?
Be attentive.
You can do something. You can do something if you're paying attention and you're not
Yeah.
self-absorbed.
A man will pick
Once it becomes this other stuff. Go ahead. Say it again.
a man will pick an attentive woman over a bad bitch any day. Attentive woman over a bad bitch any day.
Attentive woman, yeah.
Attentive woman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That no, just like you said, I'll be watching Game of Thrones. I might come home. I got you a Game of Thrones t-shirt. What? It's a little, you know what I mean? I big all, it's true. But yeah, that's good stuff, Jerry. It's really good. Good stuff.
So okay, so fellas, so with like love is blind. So let's talk about what Derek kind of hit on too. Like when, of course, and you broke it down really good, Jared, when you said they're in the pods and it's the fantasy that they get into, because once they propose, they go and live with each other for 6 to 8 weeks or something like that, and then they get married. And then that's when they see how each other live and all of this other kind of stuff. So are there any, I'm going to ask you guys this here about your marriages. Are you blind to anything in your marriage, or do you overlook things in your marriage?
At this point, I'm Ray Charles.
Right. You better see and not see.
At this point, I'm Ray Charles. You know what I mean?
And marriage is a good place, but you have, I think at some point, and all of us kind of have a similar background, right? So part of love is supposed to be long suffering, right? But it's also, but D said it first, it's also accepting, right?
Accepting.
You squeeze the toothpaste from the middle, I roll it up from the bottom, right? You want the toilet paper coming from the top, I want it to come from under. At some point, you just got to concede. You just got to concede, because otherwise, this is what I learned. Because I can be very, as binary as I am creative, as analytical as I am strategic. So there's a part of me that's like, I need order in a certain way, right? Or my mind just like I can't function well.
That's me.
But what I've learned to do over time is some stuff we're not even gonna put this on the board, right? Especially it's been a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. That's not somebody who just forgot. That's a person who made a choice, right? Hear me, ladies. 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 years. That Negro did not forget. He's made a choice to not do it, or to do it his way, or whatever. And then you get to make a choice of what you can or cannot, will or will not deal with. Done. The math for me is real simple. But what I had to do was take stuff off the board and realize that the people in my household, it's not just my wife, the people in my household are not me. They think differently. They behave differently. Some stuff you just gotta, for the sake of the sake, just let it. Because every rule that I put in place was another rule that I had to police. I don't want to be the police. I want to live my life. I'm going to give you your choices, but you're going to own your consequence. The math is real simple in my house.
So, okay, so
you don't have an applause meter. I think that would have been a good place for one, John. You got to work on sound effects. I'm just
See, there you go, right there. There you go. So, okay, so Jerry, so let's talk about that a little bit. So you said that some things don't go on the board. Some things don't go on the board. And it's pretty much making an assessment like, is this even worth dealing with? So are some things like people put to the side and they say, well, I'm not going to address that. I'm not going to address that. But it's really a problem. How do you know what stuff to address and what stuff to just say it's not worth it?
Because there's 8 billion people on the planet, right? How are you going to, I mean, seriously? It's too much. If there's so many variables. And this is so because we live in this self-centered, very entitled society, everyone wants every little thing to be exactly the way that they want it, or it's not good enough. I'm not happy. He or she don't respect it. Get over yourself. That's a whole different human being that came out of a completely different factory than the one you came out of. Otherwise, you'd be married to your brother or sister, right? They came off a different assembly line. They were influenced by different people. They have different norms, different habits, different thoughts, different behaviors. What you're trying to do is figure out, here's what you want. This is the way you do everything. This is how they do everything. What you want is to have some overlap. As long as we have some overlap, we have a reason to exist together. That's with family, friends, husbands, wives, boyfriends. As long as we have this place, because in that intersection, then we never run out of things to talk about. We never run out of ways to support each other. We never run out of ways to be there for each other. But when it becomes this, then the math, again, is very simple. There's no reason for this to exist. Deal with the overlap, not all this other stuff. Value the things that are working and stop focusing so much on the things that are not, especially if they're idiosyncratic. Now, if someone is emptying out the bank account and we overdrawn every month, now we're talking about a whole different, we're talking about somebody who is sabotaging the situation. They become a threat to this. They're making it this. That's different. But we're talking about the normal idiosyncrasies and habits of human beings and individuals. Calm down, right? But if you're shooting a hole in the bottom of the boat, now I'm going to have to take more drastic action. That's different. That's different, right? Yeah. If a guy's going upside your head, right? Or she's going upside your head, or she's, doing things that she's not supposed to do with the money, or being mean to then now we got a different set of issues to deal with. And then I think to Derrick's point that he started from very early on, you may not be able to solve all your problems with the two of you alone.
That's true.
You may have to get some counseling. You may have to get someone involved to help you out.
Yeah.
So, Derrick, how do you, same question, what advice do you give to someone to let this slide? It's not that big of a deal. What to address or what to let slide? How do you do that in your marriage?
I'm a little older now, which is, there's a whole lot of older dummies out there too, but I'm one of them old wise. I'm old as the wise owl plus the golden cow. And I'm telling you, I have learned that you got to learn how to pick your battles, because some of those little battles can cost you the war. And I am so concerned about winning the war that I don't got time for the little battles. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. This is a big up to the men, because the men are really good with this. And what I mean by that is all men care about is the touchdown. We don't care about who try to face masters, kick us in the nuts on the way to the goal line. We just want to see the ref hold his hands up, look at the scoreboard, and we winning. Women are kind of like the opposite of us. They have to know how to win even when they're winning. They have to learn how to win even when they're winning. Case in point, you can be in the goal line with. We ain't got no problems. We ain't worried about no battles. The boy got their hands up. We scored. Look at the scoreboard, babe. We up 10 points. She gonna say, yeah, but they try to hit me in the nuts and try to pull the face mask when I got hit. Why are we bringing that up? We're in the touchdown. We're in the end zone. Men are good for enjoying the touchdown dance because we want to dance in the touchdown and we don't care about the little battles. And a lot of times, and I'm not knocking women, they could tend to go back and grab something from the pair, grab something, and we winning now. We don't have to bring that up. So I'm that type of person where I'm a touchdown type of dude. If we're in end zone and we're winning, we ain't got to worry about whoever tried to do what and who did what in the field. We're not doing that. You know what I mean? And that's how I pick my battles because I know that some small battles can cost me the war, and I'm more concerned about the war. And I think women need to be more concerned about the winning the war and not these little small battles.
That's a point right there. You made it. You made a point.
And that's
glad it was you and not me. Huh?
I feel that way. My earphones back on, but we're good.
No, I'm with you 100% on that point, right? And again, not to make it anything about women, but men and women, we are wired differently.
We're wired.
As long as no one's kind of tampered with the machine, we are wired very, very differently. But John, it's one of those things that I talked about too, is people who, because they have to be right, are winning or losing the most important battles in life because they have to be right? Like you can hear people talk about how right they were, how wrong the other person was, but you still single, right? How wrong you were, but they still fired you from the job. How right you were, but you still broke. How right you were, you're not winning. And some people, they're more concerned about being right than winning. But that's because they're so trapped in this myopic. It's sort of what happens when we go into survival mode, right? And so what happens when you go into survival mode, it literally changes the way that your brain functions. And it takes away your ability to make long-term decisions, right? And so you become in the moment. It's about survival. Everything is the war because you can't see long-term. You can't see that this is just a moment. This is just a minute. This is just an hour. It could just be just a day. I'm trying to, like Dee said, I'm trying to get to the goal line. You consumed in what happened in this day. I think there's a better way to do it.
I only care about us winning and that we score. And once we made it to the touchdowns, you talk about what happened on the field. We in the end zone, sis. We winning. Sis, we winning. You do know we winning. We done left the party now. We here. It's over. We're in the car going home now. It's over.
So my buddy, one of my buddies, John DeBill, is on here. So he's a white guy, right?
Hey, John.
I see some other names. These are black. So, and John, you don't know this. One of the most difficult things for a black person to do in this country, and some of y'all been through this, is buy a home, right? You could do an entire reality show on the drama that black people go through at the closing table, right? You don't have this. You need this paper. You want just the leading up to it. It's just like this maze and this thing. And I'm saying that as an illustration, D, to what you're saying. At the end of the day, we went through some nonsense. I'm leaving with the keys. That's the ultimate goal. We leave with the keys. You see what I'm saying? And
we don't
I know a bunch of y'all here can tell stories about what you went through. They go, I bought a lot of real estate, and every one of mine could be its own TV show, right? If I a couple more properties, I'm just going to write a book about it. But it always seems to be some drama when it comes to us. But people get caught up in the moment, mad, blah, 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 cussing and fuss. You're there to leave with the keys.
Bottom line.
Right? I bought properties from people who didn't realize that Jerry Thompson was going to be a black guy when he showed up. Right? They assumed Jerry and his 800 credit score and all this, down payment money and stuff had to be white. I've seen people completely flip the script. Right? Got mad when I did the final walkthrough and blah, blah, blah. Hey, you'd be mad till you're behind catch fire. You walk away. I came here to walk away with the keys.
That's right.
That's the mindset that we have to
Touchdown.
have.
Yeah. So, okay, fellas, I mean, we pretty good time here, but so what words would you give? And Derrick, we'll start with you. And I'm just going to say, what word of advice would you give someone to free their mind, reset their mind, and just start living a better life, today, what word would you give them tonight?
I would say, number one, get over fear because fear stops you from doing a lot of things. That's number one. It's a fear of the unknown. It's the fear of being honest with someone. You know what I mean? How they might react from your truth. You know what I mean? So get over the fear. Love yourself. Start taking care of yourself. Start meditating, and then start taking action to move forward with you being more productive to your life. Again, I said again, fear. Get over the number one fear and love yourself. I have to put those two there because those two things that can stop you. You're not loving yourself and you having fear of being real with someone, being real with yourself, you know what I mean? And being your true authentic self and who you are. Sometimes people feel like that another person can't take it. Well, oh well, this is who I am and I'm open book, this is who I am. You know what I mean? And then you'll find peace in that, you know. So yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
would say.
And do you think some people are afraid of loving themselves? Do you think that's want to get into the core of who they are and like really loving them for who they are?
They
Do you think
are.
some people are afraid of loving themselves?
Yeah, I honestly do. I think people are afraid to love themselves for a number of reasons, and I think some of it is again a fear of the reaction from other people around them, where they may think they may look selfish. But guess what? In this life, you're going to have to be selfish sometimes. And if it comes down to you loving yourself over everybody else, in my book, I say you got to come with a fee, and I don't mean a cost. I mean fuck everybody else. FEA. That's what I'm telling you. And you're gonna have to get like that. And I'm telling you, people gonna look at you like you acting new. Are they selfish? That's all they care. No, no, no. I'm just loving myself because I came here by myself and I got to leave by myself. And if I don't love myself, who is?
Nice. So, Jerry, I'm gonna ask you this here. So, how can someone live free of the obligations of love?
Ah, I was gonna say I was just gonna go with what Derek said, and then I was down there laughing at Key because she said I sound white. I thought that was hilarious.
Where are those comments at? How come I didn't see the comments?
Because you didn't, you I don't know, you on your phone or something? I don't know what you on. I can see. Just okay. Just click. It's over there. It's on the right side. Anyway,
okay.
I think it's a loaded question. Because I don't know if some people even know what it means to love themselves. And if you've grown up in dysfunction, then abnormal is your normal, right? Again, I've got this concept I've been working on called green skies and blue skies, but it's about where we get our essential facts from. So if at a point where you've been the most impressionable in your life, which is when you're a child, and the people who were responsible for you, that took care of you, put bad programming in you, then that wrong still is your right. You don't know any better. But because I believe in what I call the beacon of betterment, I think it's when people put themselves in the space to just be open to the next thing, even if it's different, even if it's scary, even if it's strange. And in terms of people being able to love themselves, this is how you can do. This is a very uncomfortable thing for some people to do, but it's super simple. At any point, like first thing in the morning, look in the mirror and look yourself in the eye and say, I love you 5 times. Just look yourself in the eye. And what that's going to do is going to reveal a truth to you, right? Because if it doesn't feel warm and accepting and real, there's a dissonance that's going to be there. There's a discomfort that's going to be there. And that's when you know, I got to go even harder. So the next day, I'm going to show up and I'm going to keep looking myself in the eye and say, I love you. If you want to really put some spice on it, I love you and you're worth it. That's it. That alone can transform you because it gets you in touch. Like your eye, you'll be able to see into your own soul, right? You'll be able to see into your own soul and inform yourself of who and what you are. I dare you to do it for a week.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that is like that's Yeah, really hard affirmations and telling your speaking that stuff to yourself, especially when you've been told you're unlovable, you're not worthy, you're not good. When you have to look at yourself in the face, in the mirror, in the eye, and you tell yourself, "I love you," and yeah, that's I love that. That's true.
But be careful there. It's not an affirmation, right? It is literally you reprogramming yourself. They're different, right? We have a lot of affirmations, but this, when you get in contact with you in that way, that's different. You're now reprogramming. You are taking control, and it may be painful. I guarantee you, if people be honest and they start doing it, some of them will break down crying.
Mm-hmm.
Some will be. It'll be difficult just for some people to look themselves in the eye, to look at you, to face you, all your choices, all the things you succumbed to, all the things you ran from, like all that's going to be looking at you right in the eye. And that's what you have to conquer. It's mostly, the world is the world. A lot of the battles against ourselves.
Yeah.
You are reprogramming your soul.
Mm.
And you said do that for a week, right?
Do it for a week. Do it every day.
For a week.
Do it until you get joy, till you can't wait to look yourself in the eye and say, I love you.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's good advice. That's really good.
So, fellas, let me ask you this here, Derrick. What's next
Yes,
for
sir.
you? When is you were about to say something? Go ahead, Derrick.
No. What's next? Far as what? Let me ask you that.
Let's start with Mindset Go. When is part 2 coming out?
Well, you know
Yeah,
what? What I'm going to do is, huh? What you
I
say,
said,
Jerry?
yeah.
Yeah, well, two things. Mindset Go, I'm going to write another edition. However, it's probably going to be some more, just add on a couple more chapters that as I've grown, that I want to kind of add to that book. I also got another book that I'm working on right now that hopefully I can be dropping it probably by the beginning of the year. This is the book that I shouldn't put out. That's how I feel. It's called, I don't know if I want to tell y'all. But listen, the reason why I have wrote this book because I had a lot of conversations when I was in the barbershop. But again, I brought those conversations with me. It's dealing with a relationship. It's called Why Most Women Are Single and the Rest of Y'all Next. Signed Men. It's a conversation with 100 men on their perspective about relationships, about women, all that stuff. But it's really good. And there's some stuff that, maybe I was with, some stuff I was against, but it is their truth. You know what I mean? So why most women are single and why the rest of y'all next. Signed Men, 100 men. So that's my next book that's about to drop. I'll send you the cover.
Okay.
Can I write the forward?
That would be nice. That would be really nice. I'm going to sing. Matter of fact, I'm going to sing you. I'm going to do this for you, Johnson. Yeah, on the show. I'm going to send you the cover right now. How about that? I'm going to send it to you right now so you have it.
When are you looking to release?
I'm looking. You know what? I have a pattern. I have a pattern. I usually drop stuff on Black History Month. So I do shows and theater, whatever I do. I usually drop it on Black History Month. But this year, I'm doing something different with Black History Month. I don't know if you guys know about it, but if you go to changethemonth.com, check out what I'm doing for Black History Month this year. So changethemonth.com. Make sure you go to that. So yeah, I'm looking at the beginning of the year. So January, February, to drop that book. If not sooner, because I'm almost done.
See, I asked you so you can put it out there so I can hold you accountable to it. So I'm going to be wearing you down, brother. So if you thought you was just saying the date, nah, bro. It's coming out in February 2025.
You know what? That sounds good. I like the what is it? Under promise, over deliver. So that's what it is. And John, I'll see you like the synopsis and all that. So let you check it out. No problem. No NDA.
Because guys, if you don't have Mindset Go get it. It's an amazing book. I got it on Audible. You can listen to it while you're working, and Derrick narrates it himself, so you feel his passion when you're listening to it. So it's amazing. So go get it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
it.
So
Jerry, what's up with you? What's next for you, other than book 5 coming up?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the main thing is Principles of the Live Free Lifestyle, Volume 2. Unlike D, my controversial book is going to have to wait, which is because it's back and forth on whether or not to write Volume 2 or to write the leadership book. But the leadership book is it's a lot in there, but the one I think will come after both of those will be called Permission to Speak Freely, and that's when I'm really going to expose a lot of things about my journey as an executive, kind of coming up the ranks and the things that I've experienced. but it is to get this writing done. That's a big one for me, is to get that started and then get it off my plate. So it's time.
Nice. And Derrick, when does your podcast air?
Oh, thank you for saying that. We air every Monday morning at 9 a.m. So we just dropped one. Cuts Convo on Coffee is on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe. And if you're 1,000 subscribers, we give away $1,000. So you might want to jump on there right now and become a subscriber or whatever you want to do. But it's on YouTube. Cuts Convo on Coffee. Your host, Top Shelf D. Reed, every Monday morning, 9 a.m.
And I'm gonna tell you guys now, Derrick's podcast is on a whole nother level. So,
I wouldn't say that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. His podcast is on a whole nother level. He has his own studio and all of that applause Jerry was saying I need on mine. Derrick got it on his. He's like the real deal. So like,
you should make a show, John. Ours is like a hybrid. It's like a podcast and a show. You know what I mean? That was our idea. You know what I mean? So shout out to my producer, Half Can Amazing, Tim Fontaine. My God.
Nice.
I'm bringing back Pivot Play. I'm thinking about, because I got to do it in pieces. There's too much going on. I got to bring it back in pieces. So I'm thinking about doing another 10 episodes of Pivot Play, but really deep diving the first book, right? Really hearing my perspective on some of it. So we really could do an episode for every chapter, but I think I want to go through some of my favorites just to put some more content out there while I'm writing, because it'll keep me in the flow. Like I said, we have right now 65 topics to choose from.
And when are you thinking about starting back up the Pivot platform?
It'd probably be sometime next month. I mean, for me, they're easy to do. They're conversational. So, and I have all the content, right? So, and then we'll probably we have not talked about, there's a book about this thick, about the Live Free journey. And it's it's more of a journal style book. That goes through things that are based on the principles, but it's a way you can get the principle or the quote for the day, and then you have a place to be able to journal in the book. And there's a year's worth of space in there to do that. It's a big book. It's a big book. We didn't realize it'd be that thick when we produced it. So, but that's another one that's out there. But that's where it is now. And then get my real estate stuff where it needs to be. Decide if I'm about to move. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff I'm thinking about.
And guys, definitely go out and get Jerry's volume 1 of his book. I read that book as well, and it is phenomenal. Cool. Yeah, it is like both Derrick's and Jerry books. When you read them, you feel full because they pour into you, and you can tell it's coming from good spaces and spaces that they've walked in those shoes before. So they're just not giving you this random information and this random advice. I'm telling you, both books changed my life for real. And I love reading stuff like that to keep me going. So go check both of them out. And until next Monday, guys, we will see you 7 p.m. Jerry, Derrick, thank y'all for coming on, my brothers.
Thank you,
everybody else. Thank you.
Always.
Thank you.
Always.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Fellas.